she's kind of lazy. She walks slow. Not a lot of stretch in her body. Nothing very tight. Like.
What about her back leg, Kaylee?
The back leg is an issue. I think it's more of an issue than the vet does. The vet says that she should be sound walk, trot, canter on it because she doesn't really limp, particularly like after a lot of exercise. She'll gallop around the field with the others and then be fine. I am not convinced that she's really going to be able to be a riding horse, except maybe for like, you know, kids who are just learning and just doing, you know, short, like maybe 20-minute walk rides at a time or something. Because I have known quite a few horses who were rehabilitated, and riding was actually a big part of their rehabilitation because the human knew what they were supposed to move like, so could reward them for moving without a limp, because they don't really, you know like if they've been limping forever, they forget. So the leg doesn't have a ton to do with the pushiness. That's more of a breed characteristic. Appies are chronically kind of pushy horses who definitely conserve their energy. But then the other thing about Appies is they tend to be emotional introverts at the same time. So she might be lazy and she might be shut down, and it's hard to tell the difference. So I'll show you 4 places that you can feel. Connor, just come to the middle and see if she'll back up for you.
Which way?
Just back up. Yeah. And see, with all these people watching, she's not as pushy as she would normally be. Try turning her, pressing on her neck and her face to get her to turn away from you. So there's a little attitude there. Yeah. She just kind of like, no, don't push on my face. And now she's a little squeaky at it. I'm not sure what you're doing. I don't like it. I'm busy thinking my way out. So she's doing better there. And part of the difference was that Connor didn't make her pivot perfectly on the back feet. She let her turn a little. So overall, I mean, I guess the way that you can tell that this is kind of a pushier horse is that she's a little bit lazy and she's busy with her face all the time. She wants to put her face on you. She wants to have her face close to you. Her face by your leg, her face by your stomach, her face by your shoulder. It's just like all about her face. She's not like other horses will have their head up in the air and they're really like looking around so that they can have room to move their feet. This is a face horse, and face horses tend to be pushier horses because horses play this game where they stand next to each other, and it's like Indian wrestling where, here, put your hands out. It's, you know, Indian wrestling games are the games where you push like this and then you take your hands away and try and get the person to fall. Well, they do that, but with biting each other's faces. And so the first horse to lose, or to move their feet, loses. So horses like Misty, who think life is pretty good, she's not, you know, she is not worried about being hurt most of the time. She's not worried where her next meal is going to come from. She's not worried about having shelter at night. At that point, the last thing to worry about is pecking order. And so she spends a lot of time going, okay, well, who gets to eat the best hay? You know, if we all know we're going to get to eat, well, what else is there to worry about? The best hay. So other things, like, and it starts to be about play, too, because after a horse has safety and comfort, then, okay, well, let's play. And play is a part of creating self-esteem and athleticism, and it's also, you would call it locomotor play, and that's practice for life or death situations. So they've actually found that animals of all species play, and in every animal species, and like including humans, before play starts, there's a bow. So dogs, you know, go like this, and horses go like this, and monkeys go like this, and all animals do it. And So part of what you'll see today is I do a lot of this. And what that's about is saying, I'm moving you around, but I'm not doing it because I want to eat your hen. This isn't about pecking order. This is just play. And, you know, all animals play, and the reason scientists think that they play is because they need to develop locomotive skills for life or death situations. So dogs chase each other and run around for practice catching their next meal. Horses run from things and rear and kick for practice when the tiger jumps up behind them and they've got to kick it off of them. And so it feels like play, and if you add the bow in front of it, then it feels like play even though you're two different species. And that we would think that play would only happen within a species. They've actually found that orangutans and chimps go out and play with each other. And that's pretty interesting because you would think that they'd have totally different playing styles, but I just think it's cool because if they can do it then with, you know, each other, then conceivably we can do it with the horse. And when it's in their life where they're not so motivated by safety or comfort anymore because they have those things, then the next thing you have to do is bring play to the table so that life doesn't get so boring. So I'm going to play with Misty, and what you'll see me doing is trying to get her to do all the different locomotor moves. So those are things like going forward and backward, and left and right, and up and down, and sideways, moving both feet at the same time. Anything that makes her athletic and is part of the way horses would play naturally. So, thanks. So the first thing, like, I'm gonna just see kind of how pushy she is. Well, she's already biting me, so that's pretty pushy. Flipping everything with her face. Like, what happens if I come stand, you know, right here? Like, if I just want to, like, cuddle with my horse, I kind of want to know what's gonna happen if I do that. And, you know, where's the treats at? You know. And she's not as pushy as some. Like, she certainly hasn't just gone right for the treat bag like most would. And I think that's mostly because you guys are watching, but we'll kind of see and walk that line between how nervous she is about you guys versus how stubborn she is by nature. Okay. The things that I'm going to click for really aren't all that different from what I was doing with Kiwi. I'm not so much clicking for a behavior as a change in attitude and thought process. So this is about play, so I'm going to click the play face whenever I get it. Or I'm going to click for athleticism. So if she backs up like really nice, now she's like, I got my treat, she's owned, this person is at my mercy. But, so she's not really giving me anything to click for. I'm certainly not going to be able to click for athleticism right here. So I'm just going to wait a second and see if she'll back up. And I don't really want it to be about my rope and my stick. What I want it to be about is just the hand signals, because ultimately the rope's just a pain. So what I really care about is that she learns the body language. So I'll move my hands and my body a lot at the beginning, and after she gets it, I want it to be more fluid to where she just knows and reacts because it's fun. And I'll use kissing or clucking to her to get her to wake her up a little bit. So watch your face if you can here. Does that look like play? Okay, just keep watching. Why don't you guys say now when it looks like play to you?